1 year after humanity left the Galactic Council, the galaxy had transformed completely. The old council still existed, but only 12 members remained. They struggled to maintain basic cooperation, while the rest of the galaxy reorganized around humanity. Director Ji-Ho Park stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, the massive structure that had become the unofficial capital of human space. Through the huge windows, he watched ships from dozens of species dock at the station's many ports. What started as desperate requests for help had grown into something amazing. "Director, the Vendorian delegation has arrived," announced Sora Lee, his chief of staff. "They're ready to sign the Mutual Defense Pact." Ji-Ho adjusted his formal uniform and smiled. The Vendorians were the 15th species to seek formal alliance with humanity. Each agreement was unique, designed for the specific needs of both partners. In the conference room, Elder Veltash of the Vendorians extended a tentacle in greeting. The neural plague that had nearly destroyed his species was now controlled, thanks to continued human medical support. "Director Park," the Elder said with deep emotion, "my people owe their survival to human generosity. We come not as beggars, but as partners who wish to contribute to a new order." The agreement they signed was more than just military cooperation. It included scientific collaboration, cultural exchange, and economic integration. Most importantly, it treated both species as equals. Across the galaxy, humanity's influence appeared in unexpected ways. The Quellians had embraced human-style individual rights. The Saurians developed new hybrid technologies that surpassed anything created under Council rule. The Vorthans reformed their economic system to be more fair and open. The biggest surprise was the end of the Helix-Morvac War. Admiral Sun Yichang's intervention had forced both sides to talk instead of fight. But the real breakthrough came from human diplomats like Min Jung-oh, who used methods the Council had never considered. "You treat us as equals," the Morvac commander had said during negotiations. "The Council treated us as children to be managed." The new system that emerged was revolutionary. Instead of one rigid hierarchy like the Council, humanity created flexible networks. Species could join multiple alliances and maintain their independence while benefiting from cooperation. Captain Dae Hyun-yu commanded the merchant fleet that connected human space with allied systems. His ships carried more than just cargo. They carried ideas, culture, and hope. "We don't seek to rule," he explained to new trading partners. "We seek to lift everyone higher. When our neighbors succeed, we all succeed." The transformation was most visible on former conflict worlds. The planet Harmony 2 had been fought over by 3 species for centuries. Under Council rule, temporary ceasefires always collapsed into new wars. Now, with human mediation, all 3 species shared the planet peacefully. Human engineers had shown them how to build cities that accommodated everyone's needs. Human teachers had created schools where young beings from all 3 species learned together. "The Council kept us apart to maintain control," said teacher Jin Kyung-shin, watching mixed species children play together. "Humans brought us together to share success." In the remnants of the Council chambers, Chairman Vex Thule faced harsh reality. His latest session had only 8 attendees. The Galactic Council that had ruled for 3,000 years was now just a footnote in history. "The humans have created what we claimed to represent," observed the Altarian representative, one of the few who attended out of tradition. "Unity through diversity, strength through cooperation, progress through freedom." Vexthule's compound eyes focused on the empty human seats. "We drove away our greatest asset. They haven't destroyed us. They've simply built something better without us." The final irony came when humanity extended an olive branch. Director Park transmitted a message to the Council. "The United Human Collective welcomes all species, interested in equitable partnership. Our doors remain open to former Council members willing to engage as equals." Several species immediately expressed interest. Even Chairman Vex Thule began drafting proposals for his people to join the human-led alliance. Pride had finally given way to pragmatism. The new galactic order had several key differences from the old Council system. First, no single species held supreme authority. Decisions were made through consensus among equals. Second, technology and knowledge were shared freely. not hoarded or restricted. Third, conflicts were resolved through mediation and mutual benefit, not through imposed solutions. Research Station Alpha, jointly operated by humans and 6 other species, symbolized the new approach. Scientists from different worlds worked, side by side, sharing discoveries immediately. In just 1 year, they had made breakthroughs that would have taken decades under council bureaucracy. "We accomplished more in a month than the council did in a year," said Dr. Kyungmi Jong, the station's human director. "When you remove fear and suspicion, innovation flourishes." The economic transformation was equally dramatic. The old council had controlled trade through complex regulations that favored certain species. The new system used simple, fair rules that benefited everyone. Trade volume doubled in just 6 months. "Markets work better with trust than with control," explained economist Mira Huang at a trade conference. "Humans showed us that prosperity shared is prosperity multiplied." Military cooperation also changed completely. Instead of one species imposing order, allied fleets worked together as equals. Each contributed their strengths while learning from others. The galaxy became safer than it had been in centuries. Young beings across the galaxy learned these stories in school. Teachers explained how fear had nearly destroyed galactic civilization, and how courage and cooperation had saved it. "Humans didn't leave the galaxy's table," teachers would say. "They built a bigger table with seats for everyone willing to join as equals." In his final years, Chairman Vexthul wrote memoirs admitting his mistakes. "We feared human ambition would diminish us. Instead, human generosity elevated everyone. We confused leadership with control, strength with domination. Humans showed us that true leadership means helping others succeed." As the galaxy entered this new era, the transformation was complete. Old divisions based on species gave way to cooperation based on shared values. Former enemies worked together on projects that benefited all. Knowledge flowed freely, spurring innovation everywhere. Director Park, in his speeches across the galaxy, often said, "Humanity didn't seek to conquer the stars. We sought to share them." The Council's greatest fear, human independence, became the galaxy's greatest fortune. The empty seats in the old council chambers stood as monuments to failed thinking. Meanwhile, across the stars, beings of all species worked side by side in a harmony the council never achieved. Where the council had imposed unity through control, humanity had inspired unity through example. Where the council had restricted growth through fear, humanity had encouraged growth through freedom. Where the council had demanded subordination, humanity had offered partnership. The age of the Galactic Council was over. The age of true unity had begun. And in this new age, success was measured not by how much power one species held over others, but by how much all species lifted each other toward the stars. Humanity had walked away from a broken system. In doing so, they had shown the galaxy how to walk forward together into a brighter future. The stars, once divided by fear and suspicion, now shone with the light of genuine cooperation. The greatest revolution in galactic history had been achieved, not through war or conquest, but through the simple act of walking away, and the wisdom to build something better in its place. 4 months after humanity left, the Galactic Council faced its darkest hour. The grand chamber that once buzzed with voices from dozens of species now echoed with emptiness. Only 11 species sent representatives. The rest were fighting for survival. Chairman Vexthul's shell had cracked in several places, a sign of extreme stress in his species. He listened as the Zephyrian delegate delivered news that sent fear through every remaining member. 3 of our atmospheric colonies are dead, the cloud-like being reported, his gaseous form barely held together. 2 million citizens need evacuation, but we have nowhere to send them. Without human terraforming technology, we cannot make new worlds livable. The chamber fell silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The Zephyrians would either die or invade other worlds for living space. War was coming. "The Morvac Helix conflict has begun," announced the security coordinator. His jelly-like body rippled with fear. "First shots were fired at Kandari Junction yesterday. Both fleets are mobilizing for total war. Kandari Junction was a crucial crossroads where 7 major trade routes met. War there would cripple what remained of galactic commerce. In human space, Admiral Sun Yi-chang watched the developing conflict from her command center. The HSS Resilience, one of the powerful warships the Council had wanted to confiscate, now patrolled human borders with its sister ships. "Admiral, we're detecting massive energy readings from Kandari Junction," reported Lieutenant Woo Jin Kim. "It matches a Helix planet cracker warming up." Sun Yi frowned deeply. Planet crackers could destroy entire worlds. They had been banned for centuries. Using such weapons showed how completely order had collapsed. "Send priority message to Director Park," she ordered. "The Council's failure is about to cost billions of lives." Back in the Council chambers, a medical emergency struck. The Vendorian speaker collapsed during his report. The neural plague had finally reached him despite all precautions. Medical staff rushed to help, but without human treatments, they could only make him comfortable as he died. "This is murder through neglect," screamed the Altarian representative. She pointed her wing at Chairman Vex Thule. "Your fear and pride have doomed entire species." The meeting dissolved into chaos. Long-buried hatred erupted as species blamed each other. The Saurians accused the Zephyrians of manipulation. The Quellians condemned the Vorthans for economic exploitation. Diplomatic courtesy vanished completely. Through all the shouting and anger, the empty human seats seemed to grow larger. Their absence felt like a judge's verdict on the Council's failures. In human space, the contrast was dramatic. New jump gates connected colonies in an efficient network. Research stations made breakthrough after breakthrough. Military fleets patrolled borders with advanced technology that would have been banned under Council law. The first desperate delegation arrived at Mercy Station, humanity's main medical research facility. The Vendorians had sent their highest-ranking survivors, including Elder Veltash. "Please," the Elder begged, his tentacles trembling. "Our species faces extinction. Millions have died. We need your help." To their amazement, they found Dr. Yun-ji, Lim still working on their plague. She had never stopped her research. "You continued?" Elder Veltash asked, unable to hide his shock. "We left the Council, not our conscience," Dr. Lim replied. "But our help now comes with conditions. You'll sign a direct treaty with humanity. You'll treat us as equals, and you'll share your own medical knowledge in return." Similar scenes played out across human space. The Quellians arrived begging for tourism agreements. The Saurians pleaded for engineering help. The Vorthans offered any price for antimatter supplies. Each species found humanity willing to help, but only as equal. Partners, never again as subordinates. The true shock came when Chairman Vexthul received intelligence that shook him to his core. Both the Helix Confederacy and Morvac Empire had sent secret delegations to human space. Instead of fighting each other to extinction, they were seeking human alliance. "They're choosing humanity over the Council," Vexthul murmured. His mandibles clicked with distress. "We're becoming irrelevant." His young aide, a crystalline who had recently joined, dared to speak truth. "Chairman, we became irrelevant the moment we drove humanity away. They were never the threat. Our fear of them was." The turning point came when Admiral Sun Yi-chang took action at Kandari Junction. As the Helix and Morvac fleets prepared to destroy each other, human warships suddenly appeared between them. "This is Admiral Chang of the Human Defense Force." Her message thundered across all channels. "Any ship that fires will be disabled. Stand down immediately." Both sides hesitated. Human technology had advanced beyond their understanding. The weapons pointing at them were unlike anything in their databases. "You have no authority here?" protested the Helix commander. "We have the authority of superior firepower," Chang replied, calmly. "And unlike the Council, we'll use it to prevent genocide. Stand down or be stood down." Faced with human determination, both fleets retreated. The war that could have killed billions ended before it truly began. News of human intervention spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Species that had given up hope now saw a chance for survival. But it meant abandoning the Council that had failed them. "Director Park," said diplomat Minjung. During a staff meeting. We've received formal requests for alliance from 15 species. They're willing to accept any terms we set. Jiho Park studied the reports thoughtfully. We don't want to rule them. We want to work with them as equals. Create a new framework, flexible alliances, mutual benefit, respect for sovereignty. As more species approached humanity directly, the council became increasingly desperate. Chairman Vexthul made a decision that showed how far he had fallen. Prepare a formal apology, he instructed his staff. We'll offer humanity full membership, again with no restrictions. But when the message reached human space, the response crushed his last hopes. The Galactic Council chose fear over friendship. Director Park replied. That choice has consequences. Humanity has moved beyond needing council approval. We wish you well in your future endeavors. The final council meeting had only 8 members. Vexthul looked around the nearly empty chamber and finally understood the magnitude of his failure. We had the greatest treasure in the galaxy, he said quietly, a species that lifted everyone around them higher, and we threw it away because we were afraid of their success. The Altarian representative, one of the few who remained, nodded sadly. Humans didn't conquer us. They simply built something better without us. And everyone can see which system works. Outside the council chambers, the galaxy was reorganizing itself. Species formed new alliances centered on human cooperation. Trade routes reopened under human protection. Medical research resumed with human guidance. The old order was dead. The Galactic Council still existed in name, but its power was gone. Real authority now flowed through networks of mutual respect and cooperation that humanity had sparked. We feared human ambition, Chairman Vexthul admitted in his final speech. We should have embraced human innovation. Now we're relics of a failed system, watching others thrive in the new order we were too proud to join. The reckoning was complete. The mighty had fallen. And from their ashes, something better was rising. 6 weeks after humanity left, the Galactic Council held what history would call the Crisis Summit. Only 19 species sent representatives. The others were too busy fighting disasters on their homeworlds. Chairman Vexthul looked around. The half-empty chamber. His once shiny shell had turned dull gray from stress. The confident leader who had forced restrictions on humanity now looked old and tired. The Betelgeuse trading hub is dead, reported the Altarian delegate. Her beautiful feathers were now dull and broken. Without human managers, fights break out daily. 3 species have been killed in disputes over docking rights. The holographic displays around the room showed a galaxy in chaos. Red warning lights flashed on star maps, marking systems in critical failure. The Orion Transit Corridor, which the Council had taken from humanity, was now a danger zone full of pirates and broken ships. On Proxima Centauri IV, the situation showed just how wrong the Council had been. The huge deuterium mines stood silent. Deuterium was fuel for starships, and this planet produced half the galaxy's supply. The Saurian workers who remained found themselves helpless. They knew how to operate the mining machines, but not how to fix them. Chief Engineer Sunba Kang had taken all the repair manuals when she left. The knowledge existed only in secure human databases. Production has dropped by 80%, the Saurian mining minister reported to the Council. We have 17 major breakdowns every day. Our engineers say the entire facility will shut down within 10 days. Teams from other species arrived to help, but they found technology they couldn't understand. Humans had mixed their own systems with alien technology, creating hybrid machines that needed human knowledge to work. The medical catastrophe was even worse. Across the galaxy, diseases that humans had controlled now spread without limit. The Vendorian neural plague returned with deadly force. Death rates have increased 10 times, the Vendorian speaker announced. His tentacles drooped with despair. We have medicine for 6 more months. After that, our entire species may die. The Vendorians had learned to use human medicine, but they couldn't make it. The manufacturing process required human-designed equipment and techniques that no other species understood. Trade between star systems nearly stopped. Human banks had created a network that moved money across the galaxy in seconds. Without it, transactions took weeks or failed completely. "I can't pay my workers on other planets," complained a Quellian business owner. "The old banking system takes 40 days to transfer funds. My companies are failing." The security situation grew dangerous quickly. Human military advisors had trained officers from 20 species. Without ongoing human guidance, these forces fell apart. Border disputes exploded into violence. The Helix Confederacy and Morvac Empire, enemies kept at peace by human diplomacy, prepared for war. Both sides had built their defense strategies around human-designed communication systems. Now those systems worked poorly, creating confusion and fear. "They're mobilizing their battle fleets," warned the security coordinator, his gelatinous form rippling with anxiety. Without human peacekeepers, nothing stops them from attacking each other. In the medical sector, hospital after hospital closed. Human doctors hadn't just treated diseases, they had taught alien medical staff new techniques. Without human teachers, young alien doctors couldn't learn advanced procedures. On the agricultural world of Haven Prime, food production crashed. Human agronomists had developed crops that could grow in alien soil. They had created fertilizers that worked with different plant chemistry. Now fields failed and hydroponic systems broke down. "Famine is coming," the Haven Prime representative told the council. "Human scientists bred our crops for 30 years. We don't know how to maintain the genetic modifications. The plants are reverting to their original, less productive forms." Chairman Vexthul studied report after report of disaster. Each told the same story. Aliens had learned to use human systems but not to understand them. They could follow procedures, but not adapt when things went wrong. "We must contact the humans," he declared. "Offer to renegotiate everything." "I've tried, Chairman," said the communications director. "They've built their own network with encryption we can't break. Official channels get automated responses. Humanity has withdrawn from council affairs." The council tried to recreate human systems. They formed committees to replace human coordinators. They assigned their best scientists to understand human technology. Every effort failed. "It's not just knowledge," explained the crystalline science advisor. "Humans think differently. They see connections we miss. They solve problems in ways we can't imagine." In human space, the contrast was stunning. Free from council bureaucracy, human colonies flourished. New technologies appeared weekly. Trade between human worlds grew exponentially. Director Ji Ho Park reviewed the latest reports with satisfaction mixed with pity. "The Vorthans offer 10 times the old price for antimatter," said Trade Director Hyun Kim. "Let them come with respect, not demands," Ji Ho replied. "We'll trade as equals or not at all." The breaking point came when the Vendorian plague spread to other species. The disease mutated, infecting 3 more races. Panic spread faster than the plague itself. "This is genocide," accused the Flexi delegate, pointing at Chairman Vexthul. "Your pride has doomed billions." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Species blamed each other for the crisis. Old rivalries resurfaced without human mediators to keep peace. The careful balance that had maintained order for 3,000 years shattered in weeks. "We were fools," the Zephyrian delegate admitted privately to Chairman Vexthul. Humans weren't just members of the council. They were the glue holding it together. The chairman's compound eyes focused on the empty human seats. Those chairs had seemed unimportant 6 weeks ago. Now they loomed like monuments to the council's stupidity. "We thought we were protecting ourselves from human ambition," Vexthul said quietly. "Instead, we were destroying our own foundation." Reports came in of individual species approaching humanity directly. The Quellians had sent a delegation to human space, offering any terms for renewed tourism agreements. The Saurians begged for engineering advisors. The Vendorians pleaded for medical aid. "They're bypassing the council completely," observed Vexthul's aide. "If this continues, the council will become meaningless." "It already is," the chairman replied bitterly. "We drove away the one species that made us work. Now we're watching our civilization collapse." As the crisis deepened, even more council members stopped attending meetings. They focused on survival rather than politics. The grand chamber that had once hosted 37 species now echoed with emptiness. In human space, preparations began, for what everyone knew was coming. Not invasion or conquest, but requests for help. Humanity had withdrawn from the council, not from their conscience. "They'll come," Director Park told his staff. "When desperation overcomes pride, they'll come, asking for help, and we'll give it. But never again as servants, only as equals." The Galactic Council had ruled the stars for 3,000 years. In 6 weeks, that rule had crumbled. Not through war or rebellion, but through the simple act of humanity walking away. The collapse was complete. Now came the reckoning. 3 days after humanity left the Galactic Council, aliens across the galaxy began to understand what they had lost. On the beautiful vacation planet of Epsilon Eridani III, thousands of tourists watched in confusion as human workers packed up and left. Jinsu Choi stood in the control room of the Solya Grand Resort. He had managed this amazing hotel for 15 years. The resort could house creatures from any planet. It had rooms filled with different atmospheres, pools of various liquids, and gravity fields that could be adjusted for each guest. "Sir, we've shut down the anti-gravity generators in Wing 7, reported Min Ji-yoon, his assistant. She usually smiled a lot, but today her face was serious. Jinsu looked through the huge windows. Human staff members were helping confused alien guests reach the departure shuttles. The resort employed 3,000 humans. It made as much money as a small planet. "The Quellian ambassador wants to pay triple to stay 1 more week," Minji said, checking her tablet. "Tell them no," Jinsu replied. He felt sad about it. The water-dwelling Quellians had always been good guests. They loved how the resort could keep them comfortable both in water and on land. "The council gave us 90 days to leave. We're ahead of schedule." All across the galaxy, similar scenes happened. Humans packed up factories, research stations, and trading posts. They worked fast and didn't waste anything. It looked like a perfectly planned dance. On the factory world of Kepler 442b, Chief Engineer Haijin Zhou watched her team take apart the largest antimatter plant in the galaxy. Antimatter powered most alien ships and cities. Without this factory, energy prices would skyrocket. "Ma'am, the Vorthan delegation is here again," said Security Chief Jae Sung-han. "They're offering 3 times the factory's value to buy it complete." Haijin looked at security screens. The crystal-like Vorthans waited anxiously at the main gate. They had always been difficult customers, always demanding changes to production schedules. Now they faced losing their main antimatter supplier. "Let them wait," she decided. "We're taking all the important technology. They can have the empty buildings." The withdrawal showed everyone how much humanity did for the galaxy. Human engineers fixed machines on dozens of worlds. Human farmers had taught aliens how to grow more food. Human doctors had cured diseases that had killed aliens for thousands of years. On the ice world of Ganymede 7, Maintenance Chief Sung-ho Park supervised the shutdown of atmospheric processors. These huge machines made the air breathable for the Zephyrian colonists. "Chief Park, please reconsider," begged the Zephyrian governor, his cloud-like form pulsing with worry. "Without your team, we don't know how to run these machines. Our people will suffocate." Sung-ho felt sorry for them, but orders were orders. "Your council representative voted for the restrictions. You should have thought about this before." In the council chambers, emergency meetings happened every day. The 17 empty seats showed how many species were too busy with crises to attend. "The Betelgeuse trading hub has closed," announced the Altarian delegate. Her beautiful feathers now looked messy from stress. "Without human coordinators, the traders are fighting. Some species have stopped coming entirely." Chairman Vexthol's compound eyes scanned report after report of failures. The Orion Transit Corridor, which the Council had taken from humanity, was now full of pirates. Human patrol ships had left on schedule, leaving no one to keep order. "Perhaps we moved too quickly," the Zephyrian delegate admitted. His gaseous form had turned a sick green color. "3 of our atmospheric processors have already failed. The human teams left with all the maintenance codes. The medical crisis was even worse. On countless worlds, humans had built hospitals and research centers. Dr. Yoonji Lim had spent 30 years studying the Vendorian neural plague. This terrible disease had killed millions before she found a cure. We're leaving enough medicine for 6 months, Dr. Lim told the Vendorian health minister as she prepared to depart. After that, you'll need to make your own. But we don't know how. The minister's tentacles shook with fear. You're condemning us to extinction. The formula is not secret, Dr. Lim replied calmly. But the process requires human-designed equipment and human-trained technicians. Your council chose to drive us away. The economic collapse happened faster than anyone predicted. Human banks had provided loans to developing worlds. Human insurance companies protected trade ships. Human-run communication networks connected distant systems. As each human business closed, shockwaves spread through galactic markets. The Altarian Stock Exchange crashed when human investment firms withdrew their assets. The Saurian credit system failed when human banking software shut down. We've lost 70% of our trade value in 1 week, reported the Saurian finance minister to the council. Human companies handled most of our interstellar transfers. Without them, we can't move money between star systems. The migration was remarkably organized. Transport ships arrived at human colonies on schedule. Families packed their belongings and said goodbye to alien neighbors. Some aliens begged their human friends to stay, offering private contracts and protection from council laws. Young-Suk Kim, a teacher who had worked on the mixed-species colony of Harmony 4, faced a tearful farewell from her alien students. Please, don't go, Teacher Kim, chirped a young aviax, its feathers drooping with sadness. Who will teach us mathematics? Your people have teachers, Young-Suk replied gently. But they don't explain it like you do, the student said. They don't make it fun and easy to understand. Stories like this repeated across the galaxy. Aliens discovered that humans hadn't just filled jobs. They had transformed entire fields with their unique approaches and innovations. On the fortress world of Titan 9, Admiral Tae-Jun Song oversaw the withdrawal of human military advisors. For 20 years, humans had trained the Morvac Empire's elite forces. Admiral Song, this is madness, growled General Crackstor, his scales flashing with anger. Your instructors run our academies. Your strategists plan our defenses. Without humans, our military will collapse. Then maybe your council should have thought of that, Admiral Song replied. We offered partnership. You chose domination. As human forces withdrew, border conflicts flared up across the galaxy. Species that had relied on human peacekeepers suddenly faced old enemies without protection. The Helix Confederacy and Morvac Empire, kept apart by human mediation for decades, began massing fleets on their shared border. In human space, the transformation was amazing. Free from council restrictions, human colonies worked together like never before. New jump gates connected human worlds. Research stations made breakthroughs daily. Military fleets grew stronger without council limits. Director Ji-Ho Park, formerly the ambassador, now coordinated the great exodus from his office on New Seoul Station. He watched the reports with satisfaction and sadness. The Vorthans are begging for antimatter contracts, reported Trade Director Ha-Yoon Kim. They're offering 5 times the old prices. And the Quellians want tourism agreements, added another aide. They'll accept any terms we set. Ji-Ho nodded thoughtfully. We'll help them, but as equals, not as servants of the council. Let them come to us with respect, not demands. Back in the council chambers, Chairman Vexthul finally understood the disaster he had created. His compound eyes focused on a holographic display showing failing systems across the galaxy. Summon the human ambassador, he ordered weakly. Sir, his aide's wings drooped. The human embassy closed yesterday. Ambassador Park, now Director Park, sent a message. Humanity wishes the council well in its future endeavors. The chairman's exoskeleton seemed to sag. In trying to control humanity, he had driven away the species that held galactic civilization together. As the last human ships jumped to hyperspace, leaving former council space behind, the galaxy learned a harsh lesson. Sometimes you don't know what you have until it's gone, and humanity was definitely gone. The huge meeting room of the Galactic Council was full of strange creatures from across space. Some floated in special tanks filled with gas. Others sat on platforms made just for their unusual bodies. A few existed as pure energy, trapped inside, glass boxes that kept them stable. Ambassador Jiho Park stood at the center of it all. He was a tall human with gray hair and tired eyes. Behind him stood his assistant, Ha-Yun Kim, and Captain Dong-Wook Lee from Earth's military. They looked small compared to the massive alien beings surrounding them. "The Council has made its choice," said Chairman Vexthul. He was a giant insect-like creature with many eyes and clicking mouthparts. "Humans must give up all warships, bigger than Class 3. You must also let us inspect your technology every 3 months." Ha-Yun whispered something to Jiho. Her computer screen showed data that made her frown. She had spent weeks studying these new rules. They were unfair and meant only for humans. "With respect, Chairman," Jiho said calmly, "these rules are only for humanity. No other species has such limits." A cloud-like alien pulsed with red light. This was the Zephyrian delegate. "Humans learn too fast. Your military has grown too strong in just 50 years since we met you." Captain Dong-Wook stepped forward. His hands were covered in old scars from battles. "We grew strong because we had to. Remember the Helix War? We fought alone while this council talked and talked about whether to help us." The room exploded with noise. Some aliens supported humanity. They remembered how humans had helped keep peace in the galaxy. Others feared how quickly humans adapted and grew stronger. Chairman Vexthul raised 4 of his arms. The room became quiet. "Also, humanity must give up control of the Orion Transit Corridor. You cannot expand into new parts of space anymore." Jiho looked at his team. The Orion Corridor was like a huge highway in space. Human traders used it to buy and sell goods across the galaxy. Without it, Earth's economy would suffer greatly. "The Council gives us no choice," Jiho announced. He stood straighter and looked directly at the chairman. "If these are your final terms, then humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council. We leave now." The room fell silent. No species had ever left the Council in its 3,000-year history. "You cannot be serious," said the bird-like Altarian. Her feathers shook with surprise. "Think about the economic damage." "We prefer damage to slavery," Jiho cut in firmly. "Humanity will find its own path among the stars." As the human team turned to leave, the aliens didn't notice the small smile on Ha-Un's face. She had done the math. Her calculations showed that humanity would do well on its own, but the Council would not. Jiho walked toward the exit with steady steps. Behind him, chaos broke out in the Council chamber. Aliens shouted in dozens of languages. Some demanded the humans' return. Others blamed the chairman for being too harsh. "Ambassador Park, please reconsider," called a jelly-like creature from the outer rim. "We need human medical knowledge. Our people are dying from the blue plague." Jiho paused at the doorway but didn't turn around. "You should have thought of that before voting for these restrictions." Captain Dong-Wook followed, the ambassador. As they left, he heard the Vorthons arguing about antimatter supplies. Humans ran the biggest antimatter factories in the galaxy. Without human engineers, those factories would shut down. "Sir, are you sure about this?" Ha-Yun asked quietly as they walked down the long corridor outside the chamber. "Very sure," Jiho replied. "They think we need them more than they need us. They're about to learn how wrong they are." Back in the chamber, Chairman Vexthul tried to restore order, but many seats were already empty. Delegates rushed out to warn their home planets about humanity's decision. "This is just a negotiation tactic," the chairman told the remaining members. "The humans will return when they realize they cannot survive alone." The Zephyrian delegate floated closer to the chairman. "What if they don't return? What if we made a mistake?" "Impossible," Vexthul said, but his voice shook slightly. "We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled space for 3,000 years. One young species cannot threaten our power." Meanwhile, the human delegation reached their ship, the ES Horizon. As they boarded, Jiho activated his communication device. He sent a coded message. "To Earth and all human colonies. Plan Exodus begins now." Ha-Yun pulled up her economic reports again. The Council thinks we provide 15% of galactic trade, she said. The real number is 47%. They never counted indirect trade through human-owned companies with alien names. What about defense? Asked Captain Dongwook. Human ships protect 62% of major trade routes, Hayan continued. Human soldiers train security forces for 20 different species. Human weapon systems defend 38 peaceful worlds. Jiho smiled grimly. And they just told us to take it all away. As their ship left the Council station, they could see other human vessels already departing. Transport ships, cargo haulers, and military vessels formed neat lines heading toward human space. Sir, the Vendorian ambassador is calling, said a communication officer. He says it's urgent. Let them call, Jiho replied. We gave them dozens of chances to treat us fairly. Now they'll see what happens when humanity truly walks away. The ES Horizon jumped to hyperspace, leaving the Council station behind. The observation lounge, Jiho found Captain Dongwook staring at the stars. We just changed everything, the captain said quietly. Yes, Jiho agreed. The Council thought they were punishing us. Instead, they freed us. What happens next? Jiho pulled up a star map showing human colonies spread across the galaxy. We've spent 50 years playing by their rules. Now we make our own rules. Our ships will protect our people. Our scientists will research without limits. Our traders will find new partners who treat us as equals. The Council won't just let us go, Dongwook warned. They have no choice, Jiho said. Their own laws allow any species to withdraw. They never thought anyone would actually do it. As the ship traveled through hyperspace, messages poured in from human colonies. Every human leader supported the withdrawal. Plans that had been secretly prepared for years now went into action. On Earth, President Sujin Kang addressed humanity. Today, we take control of our own destiny. We thank the Galactic Council for showing us their true nature. Now we'll show the galaxy what humans can achieve without chains. Back at the Council station, Chairman Vexthal finally understood his mistake. Reports flooded in about humans leaving their posts across the galaxy. Factories shut down, hospitals closed. Defense systems went offline. Chairman, his aide said nervously, the humans aren't just leaving the Council. They're leaving everything. Every job, every contract, every alliance connected to Council authority. Vexthal's many eyes widened in horror. For the first time in his long life, the chairman felt real fear. The humans weren't throwing a tantrum. They had planned this. They were executing a careful withdrawal that would leave the Council crippled. As human ships vanished into hyperspace by the thousands, the galaxy held its breath. The Galactic Council had given humanity an ultimatum. Humanity had called their bluff, and the real consequences were just beginning.